if Alberta and Texas were to get into a boxing match, who do you take?
I'll say, okay, well, I'll give a politically correct answer. I'll say if it was just everyone in Texas versus everyone in Alberta, I'll give it to you guys because of the population difference. I believe Texas is about 29, 30 million, or I guess maybe what, 20,
Yeah,
25 million people.
about there. Yeah.
Alberta's only 4.5 million. But anything per capita, I feel pretty confident that Alberta would pull out on.
There you go. That's a great answer. That's a
Yeah.
great answer. Okay, so as the mining industry faces, I guess, what I'll call unprecedented challenges, because there's precedent for it, but we're at a much bigger scale right now than we were when these challenges arose, 4, 5, 6 years ago. What are you seeing in Canada that we need to look out for here? I was reading an article the other day about, I think it was one of the southeastern states, I don't know, Kentucky or South Carolina or something like that, where there were citizens of the state that were organizing against a mining farm and they were like local people. They weren't just like people driving in from the city, saying, "Oh, we should." They were local people, and they were arguing. They're organizing against the mining farm because of the noise. And we know that a lot of mining in at least south of, call it south of Nebraska, is going to go to immersion, and probably even in the colder climates too, just because of the way you can regulate the temperature of the machines. So that's not as much of a factor, but are you seeing that kind of opposition from like the grassroots? Because we haven't really seen much of that in Texas. Most of it has been kind of just journalists or elites in different parts of the country stirring up. But this was the first time that I saw it from like a rural constituents, because normally the rural constituents are like, heck yeah, we're bringing new jobs, we're bringing tax revenue, we're bringing new roads, new infrastructure, bring it on. But are you seeing that a little bit in Canada, in Alberta?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, nothing particular, nothing specific like that I'm seeing, but I think like the broad conversation that we're having in Canada is very similar to what you're having in the United States. You have really different perspectives state to state. You have national governments that are, let's just call it a little more skeptical, and I think we have a little more work to do there. In terms of, it's almost a mirror story, really. You have states like Alberta and Texas, which are really trying to embrace the sector, finding ways to take advantage of this new technology, make their energy systems more efficient, capture stranded methane. And then there are, states that are taking the complete opposite approach, like New York or Quebec, which are placing moratoriums on new mining operations. I think, like, when I look at this, I think there's in the sector, there's just a natural inclination to criticize the government, which I think obviously is fair enough. I could sit here and criticize particularly the Canadian governments all day. But I do think it's incumbent on us as an industry, right, to make sure that we're doing things the right way. Like we all know that if you're placing a mine in the middle of a residential area, and of course nobody's really doing that, but if you are, then there are real noise concerns and things like that can impact other people. And I think it's incumbent on us to really do things the right way, to engage with regulators, to engage with people, to tell people that the potential for this. But I think it's incumbent on us as an industry to do things the right way, make sure we're getting our message out there, make sure we're selling our benefits, and make sure we're addressing some of people's real concerns. And noise concerns are not just specific to Bitcoin mining, but one bad actor can make a bad name for an industry. So I think it's incumbent on us to develop ways to do things the right way, work with industry associations like yourself that do a fantastic job representing the industry, talking to communities, talking to local regulators and legislators. I do think that we have to make sure we're doing things the right way, and I think that's by far the case. But we can always do better, and I always like to not place blame on others, but kind of internalize and improve ourselves. And I think that we can do a little bit better as an industry. And I think, ideas, these are just brainstorming, but ideas like, maybe developing what we've talked about in Alberta is an operator's code of conduct, having some, self-imposed regulations in terms of, decibels, in terms of noise, so we're not impacting local communities. And that can be something that we can do as an industry. We don't have to wait for government to do.